Every night, bro, I sleep with like 3 girls, send them home, go to sleep, and wake up an alpha male. What do you do, bro?
I wasn't ready for you to throw it to me.
Okay.
I thought you had a whole spiel going.
No.
Like, I don't know. I go to sleep with my wife and wake up the next morning and have a Greek yogurt and come to work.
Guys, we're going to be reacting to the Fresh and Fit podcast. You've been requesting it on Discord, so without further ado, let's get into it. Hey guys, and welcome. You guys on Discord have been telling me that I need to be on the Fresh and Fit podcast or need to react to it. And I think we've touched on Fresh and Fit on this show before. It's sort of this alpha male dude bro podcast. This guy named Myron typically hosts it, and they bring on a bunch of like Instagram sort of thoughty, batty girls to sit and talk to him about their feminist ramblings as he responds to them. And there's often other men who will sit on the panel as well. Andrew Tate used to go on Fresh and Fit, or maybe still does. Sneeko. So we're going to react to some Fresh and Fit podcast videos today. This one's titled, "They Still Don't Understand Why Men Are Superior." Myron loses his mind. So we're already starting off with a real strong statement. Men are superior. And, you know, these alpha male podcasts get a lot of heat because they're like, men can cheat on women and it doesn't matter. When women cheat, it matters. And men can go to the club, but women shouldn't be at the club. Just like random stuff of judging men versus women and coming out with maybe some good takes and maybe some bad ones. So let's watch this video and see what we find.
There's every incentive for women to get into engineering. They just choose
not to.
It's
That's why
choice,
in the
ladies.
island, there's a choice for a woman to be the top dog of all those people that are out there trying to survive, and she probably can do it better than a man.
Interesting. Okay, so they're already out the gate talking about engineering and STEM fields, which we know notoriously women do not choose to go into. And people could say that's because women are not encouraged to go into STEM, but women are being encouraged to go into STEM now, and they're still not doing it. And if they are, a lot of them are miserable. But I'm not saying that women can't be in STEM and they can't be successful. Sure, plenty of them can. But there's a reason that women don't go into those fields. Now they're talking about this scenario of being stranded on an island and with multiple people, and who's going to be the top dog on the island. And she says that a woman could be the top dog on the island. So let's continue.
You're still on this?
Yes.
Bruh, like,
take me to an island. I'm going to survive.
you will not, because ladies, the reason
Put me on
why,
a game show.
simply put, the reason why you won't survive without men is because there's going to be other men that are going to you up and take your resources. Do you not understand that?
Oh, so the man's going to me up?
Yeah,
Like the Hunger
No, I'm going
Games.
to him up. What the
Like the Hunger Games.
Who the hell?
You do.
I'm losing brain cells already. We're already 2 down.
I loved how we started with the nuanced discussion of why women are underrepresented in STEM, and now we're moving the nuanced discussion and intelligent discussion over
You want to hug
to
me up?
yeah,
You want to hug me up?
women's ability to defend for themselves on a deserted island.
Oh, let's keep going.
Realize, you said you're 31, right?
You said that a man's going to me up?
Okay, you're 31, right?
This
No,
girl.
You're a grown woman. You're
Se
an
me
adult.
sale la cubana, ¿ok?
Mari.
Y nos fajamos.
Okay, you're a grown woman. You're an
He's
adult,
gonna me
right?
up, guys. Yes, I am an
Okay.
adult.
Okay, you do realize that like a 13-year-old boy will physically dominate you, right?
Negative. He could
Negative.
be feminine. Like
got a
you
13-year-old
dudes
brother.
are born
I think he
feminine
does.
sometimes and sissified. Is that boy gonna
Right.
come and beat me?
If I take a healthy,
And there's nothing wrong with that.
if I
but-
take a healthy, able-bodied 13-year-old boy,
a 13-year-old boy is gonna
he's
fight
going
me.
to you up physically. Yes, he will.
That is your opinion,
And that's
sir.
it's not
Let me think about this.
Did you take a 13-year-old, Amala? We talked about this right before.
A strong, able-bodied 13-year-old? Probably not. Like a post-puberty 13-year-old? Probably not. But pre-puberty 13-year-old? Maybe. Once we start getting into 15 and 16, I'm out. I'm done for it. I'm dead. I'm sorry. They're not going to get me.
You've got a few boxing lessons under your belt, though. You can probably,
Few
put up a
boxing
fight.
lessons.
Yeah.
I watch UFC, so we maybe have some tactical advantages there.
But it's also like, are we talking like 13-year-old Harry Styles, or are we talking like 13-year-old NFL player?
Right. Timothy Chalamet or Derek Lewis. Who are we talking about? But the general premise is men are stronger than women, and that's undeniable. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. They are stronger than women on average, and that will always be the case. Honestly, with the T levels that we're seeing right now, maybe that won't always be the case, but we hope it will always be the case.
An opinion, ladies.
If
You
you
guys,
so.
hold on. Let's use some common sense here. Do you guys realize that there's a reason why there's a WNBA and an NBA? Do you realize there's a reason why there's MMA for men versus women, men versus men, and women versus women? There's a reason why they differentiate the sexes. Men,
Things
whether
are
you like it or
changing
not,
now. It's pretty gender neutral.
men.
Girl, where? Where are things changing? Maybe gender-neutral bathrooms, but not gender-neutral NBA or gender-neutral boxing or UFC. Where are things getting gender-neutral? Other than with like some woke BS that is infiltrating our society.
Are physically superior to women. I don't care what you guys
Physically.
Biologically.
That's it.
Biologically, that's true.
Physically. We are physically superior to you. So if you fight a 13-year-old boy that's able-bodied, he's going to you up. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And here's the thing. This is how I know that we live in such a civilized world. We live in such a crazy civilized world that women forget the carnage that men are capable of. And that's as a boy. This is not a grown man. So if you take women by themselves with no men, the men are going to come in, they're going to invade, and they're going to either kill you off or turn you into slaves. The only reason women are able to exist is because they have men protecting them from other men that want to conquer. Men conquer. It's been that way since the beginning of time. You look at the military, predominantly men. Why? Why has it been since the beginning of, U.S. history almost? We just let women into infantry, which was a big mistake, by the way. But why? Because women are not suited for war. Period. You guys are not. I mean, you guys weren't really even able to enter the workforce until we gave you guys tampons. And men invented that too, by the way. So,
Great invention.
yeah, like a lot of the convenience.
Lot of silence as they're talking right there, and he makes the infantry point about women should not be able to enter infantry. I feel like if you're a woman who meets the same physical standards as a man, and that's something you want to do with your life and with your career, by all means. But there should be no lowering of standards so that we can allow women to participate.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the other thing he said of that men are physically superior to women, I think you need to qualify that a little more, because they're not superior at being able to bear a child or nurse one, and so it's not superior at being beautiful.
Right.
So it's not you have to define your terms a little better than that. Now, if you said they're physically stronger, then yes, I mean, as a matter of generally speaking, that is true.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think he makes a lot of these, generalizations that are true about the differences of men and women, but I think a lot of this is like the subtext is he's taking it a step further than that, and like saying that some of these norms of men dominating women not having a say, things like that are inherently good because of those differences. And I think that's where he gets a little off base.
Right. Completely agree.
Conveniences and things you enjoy, these modern conventions were created by men to make your life easier. And if men did not create them, you guys would have a really tough time living the lives that you live now. So it's like, and this is a fact. This isn't me just talking shit.
Were you there when the guy created it? Or maybe there was a woman there helping him, giving him ideas too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you could also just very easily make the argument that women weren't given the space or the opportunity to create the products and advantages that men created for them. So that's like having somebody in power and being like, well, here's food, and being like, look, I gave you food. And the woman's like, well, I could have gotten the food if you gave me the opportunity to go out and get it. So it's not really a great argument, but I see what he's saying.
Right. The subtext is like women would not have been capable of inventing something like the tampon. It's like,
no.
I don't quite buy that. Buddy.
Yeah, pretty sure we would have figured that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's true
then you
that
stole the
men
idea.
take credit
A lot
for
of
a lot of
men
women are
invent
wise.
ideas or run with it.
Like 99% of inventions were made by men. That's a fact.
Or did
You
the
weren't
man,
there,
or did
so
the
you
man
can't say
take
it's a
credit
fact.
for it?
Oh, gosh. And it's just like if you had an intelligent girl or anybody intelligent to talk back to you, they would have used that argument of women not having the space to actually go out and create things, so men create them for them. Instead, they're like, you don't know, it could have been a woman. Could have been a woman behind there.
Giving them ideas.
Oh my God. Behind every good man's a good woman.
Because that's
If you
There's
look
Google.
at every
Google.
if you
will
look
tell
at
you.
every major invention,
Google
Google wasn't there
it was
either.
made by men.
Don't Google. They decide what.
There's books,
This is-
literature.
this is
girl,
a
Google
I
it.
bet.
Just
Like this
look
is
at
a
the
fact.
patent,
by
girl. It's the
man-made.
patent.
Like
The
this is
patent's
not
there.
my feelings. This is not me just talking shit. This is a fact. A majority of the inventions, like 99%, were made by men.
Many women made inventions too.
Dude. There was a certain space and time where women weren't even allowed to pursue higher education. Couldn't even go get PhDs or become doctors. The fact that nobody's addressing that, and this is not me trying to argue for feminism. All I'm saying is you can't make this big, broad, sweeping argument about how 99% of inventions were made by men and not address the fact that women weren't allowed to invent or like get patents.
Yeah, I mean, common sense fits with reality, and we I think stuff like this, these people like we've talked about in the show last few weeks, of like people like Andrew Tate are popping up because it's against the backdrop of a very hyper feminized world that
Right.
we're living in today. But this is swinging the pendulum all the way on the opposite end of like the hyper masculinized side, and you're arguing not for reality or for common sense, but just like men are good and they do no wrong, and then it's on the women.
Right.
Women are good and they do no wrong. It's like,
Right.
guys, let's just have some common sense here, people. Let's acknowledge history. Let's acknowledge facts. Let's acknowledge biological differences, and like, figure it out. That men and women are generally equal in intellect, different in body type, and that's just reality.
And like he strikes gold every now and then saying something that's correct, and then it's just like whoop all the way over here. And I don't think it's any coincidence that the girls he invites on his podcast are like these Instagram baddie, know nothing types, because it validates his argument even more when he's talking to somebody who is not able to defend their own argument. So it does just make like if you're a young guy who watches Fresh and Fit podcast, your view of women must be so low. If these are the examples that you're getting for intelligent women or women who are trying to defend themselves or like modern day feminists, like you must think women are dumb. Ugh.
Name one female inventor.
If they let them freaking
No,
invent
just name
stuff.
one.
Exactly.
Name one.
There you go.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck. But
You're just arguing to argue, man.
No.
We're like.
Oh
listen,
God, you sound like my boyfriend.
No, because you're
Just
making,
arguing to argue.
You
why
are,
you're not
you are
married.
arguing to argue. You are at this point. Because I
No,
literally
I just
stated
feel like
facts.
a lot of the things you just said were opinions, and like
What was an opinion? Please tell me what was an opinion.
Which part?
that a 13-year-old can kick my ass. Like
I mean, I've seen
I
it in
got
real life.
muscles, motherfucker.
13-year-old's ass.
Shit.
Boot him in the throat.
He's shaking his head like.
The point I'm trying to make is that men are physically superior to women.
But just because they're
Okay, that's a
physically
point.
superior
I
doesn't
give you
mean
that
that
one.
women are not like brain superior, you know? Because
No,
you're
we have our
saying,
strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
I'll
Because
end on
you're
my
saying
friend.
like all these potential situations when we're like in the island, whatever. But we're, as you said, we're in a civilized world, right? So you know that like the potential for like us to go into war right now is kind of small, right? Because people are like,
Yeah, I mean, it's. Do you see what's going on?
yeah, but I mean, like, we're not gonna
China
go into
not playing
World
no
War
more.
III, you know? Like, I mean, I don't know, but like,
I don't know. Train us
And
while
that's the
we're
problem.
6.
Hold on. And that's the problem. Y'all don't know.
Why is
Like
it the
y'all
problem?
don't know. Like we're not gonna go to war. It's very probable that we can go into war. But
It's
I'm
not,
not
a
gonna
man versus woman
I'm
war.
not, I'm not
though.
gonna get
You
into
could
that
train us.
conversation. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you were the leader of a country, okay, and you had the choice to put 20,000 male soldiers or 20,000 female soldiers to fight in the front lines, what are you picking?
Male, duh.
And your country's survival depends on it. Are you putting the women or the men?
I'm putting the men.
PhD?
I don't know. I'm not putting.
Oh my gosh, this is just me. It just irks me to be like, this is your representation for the feminine perspective on any given issue.
This whole show is just an ad and a plea to put Amala on this podcast so you can debate these guys.
I mean, and it's not even that I need to debate because I find like we find common ground on a lot
Yeah.
of things, but just like you guys make some jumps that are not jumps to be made here, and these girls are not capable of defending what it is that they believe, or they just simply don't know what they believe. Of course, if you get to pick between 20,000 men and 20,000 women to go and fight a war, I'm choosing the men. Duh. That's gonna have. It's gonna put our best interests at heart.
I'm putting the men. Y'all
Who are
can
you
go.
putting?
Yeah,
Country's,
go kill yourself.
country's livelihood depends on this front line. Who are you putting? the men or the women?
Look, I feel like the
Merch.
man was born physically stronger. That's a fact. But let's say if we was, I know
moving
women
on.
are smart.
Are you putting the men or the women?
Nah.
I'm gonna put the biggest and not the ones that aren't the most strategic, but I would want the men because typically they are physically.
Are you putting the men or the women?
Just answer.
I'm
Men.
putting the men.
Are you putting the men or the women?
Yeah, I'll put them in.
I'll put them in, but that doesn't mean a woman can't
Okay,
be doing
okay,
the
next.
strategy.
Yeah.
Up in
Men or women?
strategy.
You don't
Man
want me
off
to go
grip.
there.
Somebody protect me, please.
It's like, yo, because, and the reason why y'all pick the men is because all the marbles are on the table. So it's like, okay, what are we going to do? Am I saying that the women are not capable of going to fight? Sure, they can go and fight, but the probability of them getting up is significantly higher. And
But it's a probability.
But
Oh my
see, that's the
gosh.
problem.
Way
'cause I
higher.
feel-
But it's a probability.
The probability is a probability.
But
That's my
it's-
argument.
Yeah, that's just a statistic. But that is just a fact.
That's just your opinion, though.
Anything.
I feel like
Merch.
you think because women are less strong physically, that means that like they cannot like live without a man or whatever. And I feel like that's not true, Like, and what you need to understand is that yeah, you can cry, but like you need to understand that women and men are made to be complementary or whatever the word is in English, and you cannot be like putting one against the other just on the basis like
He's
that.
not though.
Yep.
No, but
She's right. She's right about that. Women and men are complementary to each other, yin and yang, if you will, and they shouldn't be pitted against each other in fights of superiority because it simply does not make sense. It's like looking at two different separate machines that have two different separate purposes and then going, well, which one's superior? There's no point in even asking the question because they're totally different. They have different functionality and they have different purposes. So it really does not make sense to argue who is more superior. But because we've ushered in this feminist environment where women are now saying, well, we're superior to men and we should be doing all the things that men do and or some women saying we're exactly the same. Then it's like, oh my gosh, if you're going to bring in this conversation, I got to be legit about what our differences are. But difference doesn't mean superior.
Yeah, and power. It shouldn't be about framed as a power struggle.
Right.
Like one side should win. It should be about how do we achieve harmony? That's what progress and common sense and a healthy relationships between men and women look like. But to say, oh, you had the power forever, so now it's our turn to have the power, is not going to achieve what you think it's going to achieve. It's just going to foster resentment on the other side and perpetuate the power struggle cycle. The better thing is to figure out how we are complementary and how to have harmony within that.
Right. You don't fix past discrimination with present discrimination. You fix it with present coexistence and just working in tandem with each other.
I feel like you're
March.
saying that men
problem
can
is
live
that's the
without
problem you
women
feel.
and women
That's the
can
problem
live
you
without
feel.
a man. And that's not where this is going.
Okay.
Like,
Let me
literally.
make this very clear because that's the problem you feel and you're not listening. I simply said women cannot survive without men. It's only in modern day times that women can do it.
That's
all I
an
said.
opinion. That's an opinion.
To an
That is a
extent.
fact.
To an extent.
That is a
disagree.
fact.
To an
Okay.
extent.
He's saying if you went back to a different day and age where we're not as civilized and not as progressive as we are today, women would not be able to survive on their own. I mean, there would, of course, be exceptions to the general rule of that, but generally humans gravitate towards each other and need each other anyways. And if you are in a situation where you are going to need protection and security of some sort, a man is probably best suited to provide that for you. Especially if you are a woman placed in maybe a historical period surrounded by other men, yeah, you're not going to last very long. That's just a fact. Some man's going to come snatch you up.
Ever seen Hunger Games though?
Have you ever met a woman who's never
Have you ever seen a
needed
single
a man
mother?
their whole life till
It's a
the
show.
time
Have
they
you
born?
seen She-Hulk?
You're going too far. Have you ever seen those survival game when they have to build
Naked
strategies?
and Afraid?
And it's always the person building the strategies that stay longer than the fit person?
Right.
Like, what do you say about that?
Mind over
Because you were
matter.
talking about
Literally
islands.
just gave you an example of that. They did that already. They put women and men. It's called Survivor Bear Grylls. Okay? They put the women on an island. They put the men on an island. Within days, the crew had to come in and rescue the women because they could not make fire. They could not clean the water. They couldn't get food. They couldn't build shelters.
Women back in reality.
They probably chose some
Wait,
better.
hold on,
Yo,
hold on, time.
stop interrupting, please.
The irony of
I
them
will
saying
let
they
you say
picked the
your-
wrong women to represent women
Yeah, I'm
on
like-
that show. It's like, well,
Dude, if he snapped his fingers and put all these women in the jungle, girl, how long you gonna last? They don't do false eyelashes in the jungle.
And then the men, within days, had the clean water, food, everything, because men made a hierarchy. They divided and conquered, and they did what they had to do, and they didn't need the staff to come in and help them. The women, on the other hand, were gonna die, bro. Like, the argument simply is without modern day conventions, which we have now that women enjoy because of men, right? Women cannot survive without men. Period.
Most of them probably cannot. Yeah, most of them, I will say. Obviously, you're always going to have exceptions to your rules. There's always going to be super strong women who exceed expectation for womanhood. There's always going to be super strategic women, as these ladies love to use the word strategic.
They can do the strategy,
What
though.
about the strategic ones? There's going to be women who have superior strategy and will be able to survive. But I think what it's boiling down to is like, if I'm in the forest or whatever, and a 6'4" man is after me, or we're competing to survive, who's gonna win the lot there? It's probably the 6'4" man. If we ever came face to face, guess what? Without a firearm, your girl's not making it out of that situation. And men have stronger and very resilient bodies, and they happen to have more so than women. So that's just a fact. It's just a fact. We don't need to deny the fact. We can have the exceptions and say there are women who would be exceptions to that rule, but we can also acknowledge what is generally true.
The fact that you guys are even able to sit here on this podcast and say the crazy things that you're saying right now is because it's being defended by men right now.
But men can't
I
survive
will
without
say-
women.
Do you think that men were
Incorrect.
appointed into
Men-
that
men-
position to be able to do
Incorrect. Men can survive without women. We cannot propagate a society without you guys.
I've seen some episodes of Naked and Afraid where the girl.
It would be the same for women. Women can survive without men. They just can't propagate a society. Now, would more women die probably than men? Maybe. But we can't propagate a society without each other. So I don't even know why we're getting into the crux of this argument, but it's probably because of these girls being ultra feminists.
Outlasted the guy, and the guy had to get kicked off the island, and the girl lasted the full time. Just saying, it's possible.
Ladies,
possible.
we
It's
need to get out of. We need to get out of. It's possible versus probable. Okay.
Yeah.
Probable. You're saying it's factual. Like it's gonna happen.
There's
what
I'm
different
saying,
scenarios.
I like to go off of probabilities and not possibilities. Is it possible that a woman can outlast a man surviving in an island where there's dire resources? Potentially. But if I had 100 guys on an island and 100 women on an island, there's a way higher probability that those dudes are going to survive and not them women. The women are probably going to fall victim to the circumstances of nature and everything else like that, because women cannot manipulate. They don't have the physical strength. They don't have the height, the bone density, the endurance to do what men do. And if y'all really think you do, why do we have separate sets of sports? Why do women not compete with men in everything?
I don't know.
Why
Right now,
is-
sports
First of all, this is a
there's men.
Do you live on
government
planet
ran
Earth?
by men.
There's no
Exactly.
sport
Of course,
that has
they
men and
already
women
divided
together.
us.
Y'all do what y'all want.
From
y'all
the
say
start.
what y'all want. You
We-
choose
no,
what
no.
y'all
If you
want.
actually look-
Women are entering
And they're
women
destroying
games.
you guys.
yeah, they're
Thank you.
Yeah.
They're destroying you guys.
God, such a bad argument on their part. Yeah.
getting
Leah
dumber.
Thomas is a biological male who's competing against women, and he's crushing every single woman. Even in like skateboarding, crushing females. Fighting, crushing females. Surfing, crushing females. Every single sport where trans women are becoming present on the female end of the spectrum they're crushing the females. So your argument is not holding up. This is the difference between, thinking something is right and letting it get disqualified and needing something to be right. Like, these women need it to be right, what they're thinking right now. This whole idea that women can do all the things that men can do, and that there's always going to be that similarity between the two sexes. They need it to be true, and it's just not. It's just not.
Gender neutral right now. You can't tell a woman that she can't beat up a guy or like climb a tree or build a
Men
fire.
are getting pregnant now.
This is where you're wrong.
Are you seeing
It
sports
becomes
today?
an
Hold
opinion.
on. Are you living on Earth right now? Do you not know that they've allowed women, they've allowed trans men into female sports and they're literally destroying women.
That's what I'm telling you. You're telling me that
because y'all men
sports
decided
are
to do
different
that.
and that men aren't in women's sports and women in men's sports. Right now, we're just transitioning into something where we're gender neutral and we're doing things that men are doing and men are doing things that women are doing.
Oh, she's so wrong.
Do you not?
It's an opinion.
That's enough of this video for me. I don't think I can watch this anymore. It seems like we just keep going in circles with the argument here, and none of these women are actually smart enough to defend any of the points that they're making. And to be honest, if this is where men are getting their viewpoints from, I can see where it might be semi-true and maybe helpful to hear some of what he's saying, but by and large, there's so many other people you could be going to find something so much more substantive than this conversation. I'm thinking like virtually anybody, any other man in our space, like Jocko Willink, Jordan Peterson, like please choose somebody else because this is not doing it for me. I'm just curious if like, is this the average woman? Are these ladies sitting on this panel the average woman of this age in America? Like, is this truly how women think?
I hope not. I mean, I don't know why you're looking at me.
I don't know. I'm just trying to get an idea.
You're more in touch with the culture than me.
I just feel like this can't be how normal average women are. This must be just like a subset of women who are like the Instagram baddie, don't really think too much, but are left-leaning type person.
These are the people that are voting, just a reminder.
They don't vote.
These
girls are not getting in line and going to vote.
I don't know if Billie Eilish gets up on a concert and she's like, you can win free tickets if you vote, or Lizzo's like, we need to vote out all these people who are oppressing us. They're not going to listen.
These girls do not vote.
You don't think so?
I really don't think so.
In the chat, let us know if you guys think these women are voters or not.
No. They'll complain about voting, but they do not vote. There's no way these girls are putting on their stilettos and walking over to their polling location to put in their vote.
Well, if they're in California, they can take one of the 4 ballots they get in the mail and drop those in. So.
Also, their dead auntie can also vote as well.
Their dog.
They could use strategy to vote. Strategy.
Mm-hmm. To get these men to stop oppressing them.
I will say I learned nothing from this experience.
I learned about the sorry state of the discourse around men and women in our culture.
I guess. And I don't think I'd be invited on this podcast knowing the caliber of female they bring on.
That would be fascinating to see.
Don't know that I want to anymore after this experience. But guys, this is Fresh and Fit. You let me know. Did I just not pick a good clip from this show and there's more that I'm just not seeing? You guys will let me know, especially if you're on the Discord, which is in the link down below. Click it, join the server, send us your email, and we will let you in. And yeah, let me know. This might not have been a good representation of what this show actually is, but if it is, then oof. Are we in a bad place as a country? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time we post a new video, and that is every single day. We stay hustling. You stay happy. Bye, guys.